Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and find yourself in good spirits. So, I've often said that I don't think people can be proud of where they were born or their ethnicity because those aren't things that they themselves accomplished. It's things that just happened and were outside of their power. Um, that said, I've seen folks take pride in being from places that have a rich history. And somehow that rich history gives people a sense of superiority over others from places whose history isn't as rich. And I don't, you know, think me coming from somewhere makes me necessarily better than anyone else. Um, I would say, even if I was thinking like a young person, the coolest dude in a little town might be having a lot more fun with all the girls in the town if he wants to kick it like that than some dude that ain't cool in a big city full of beautiful women. It's not where you're from. It's where you're at, who you are. um, that said, I will share the history of where I started. The first barrio that I was a member of that community as a little kid. So this is the history of the barrio that I was born into and started at. This is from Wikipedia. In the 12th century, Aztecs moved away from Aztlan looking for new land to settle. In this travel, they founded several towns. Sula, meaning quail's territory, quail being those little birds, was one of these towns established on the shore of the Lerma River, the Rio Lerma. In 1380, Tariacuri, Purepecha's king, conquered the town of Sula and named it Aramutaro, which means place with caves. Now, bear in mind, this was all before Spaniards have even set foot in Mexico. And I think there was a few battles that went back and forth from other history I've read. So where I'm from is a place that, the Purepecha and the Aztecs fought over. And more specifically, the barrio that I was born into was called Perros Bravos. And that was in the cultural center, historic center of La Piedad, where La Piedad touches the Rio Lerma, which is where they settled. I was probably a quarter mile away. I would walk to the Rio Lerma and look at it. That's where Aztecs and Purépechas fought for that land. In the 12th century, the Aztecs founded that land. Where I played still had cobblestone streets from after the indigenous folks. Let's go now. Almost 2 centuries later, Antonio de Villarroel, serving Nino de Guzman, took control of the town of on the San Sebastian Day of 1530 on January 20th, so renaming the town as San Sebastián de Aramutario. From 1530 to 1687, San Sebastián was in total oblivion, victim of slavery and ignorance. Nevertheless, there were two historic facts which changed course for the town. One a political affair, the other a religious affair. The religious matter refers to finding a branch from a tree resembling Jesus Christ on the cross. This happened the midnight of Christmas Eve on a place called Buena Huerta. The towns in the surrounding asked for the Jesus Christ image to be taken to their churches. San Sebastián de Aramutario was selected to keep the Christ image. After that, the Christ image was called Señor de la Piedad, Lord of Mercy, where Templo del Señor de la Piedad was built in its honor, which also has the biggest dome in the country. So El Templo del Señor de la Piedad was, again, a quarter mile from where I lived. You know, the house, the back of it was an alley, and at the end of the alley was the plaza. So that was where the center of life started. That's where I played. That's where I grew up. The political affair was the movement of political office from Tlaxcalca to San Sebastián de Aramutario. This causes that many people came to offer merchandise, crafts, etc. In this way, the town was officially founded in 1692 when Juan López de Aguirre named it as La Piedad. And it's actually named La Piedad de Cavadas in the state of Michoacán de Ocampo. So when people say Michoacán, it's Michoacán de Ocampo. Anyways, that's the history of where I grew up and where I played. I would go to the Rio Lerma, and then I would go into Guanajuato as well. My grandfather had a granja, a pig granja, which is a farm. It had cows and sheep and horses, and I would ride the horses, along the Rio Lerma. I would ride them along the Rio Lerma, which was on the back of the farm. It was the water they used, and I would ride it to these little villages that had tin roofs, and the houses were made of adobe. And there would be old guys out there wearing like the white clothes with the little straw sombreros, playing like checkers with soda caps on like cement tables that had the checkerboard painted on it. And you could buy like one cookie at a time. Like they would open cookie packs, and no one would buy a whole pack of cookies. You would buy like one cookie or two cookies. And and I would ride all through there on a horse with my cousin, and it was good memories. So that's the barrio that I started out in, Barrio Perros Bravos. Started in the 12th century by the Aztecs, moving away from Aztlan in a place they named Sula. So, que vive la Sula. I don't be tripping like that, man. It doesn't make me any different from anyone to be born here, there, anywhere. It's not something I had anything to do with. What ultimately matters is how I can affect other people's lives with whatever God-given abilities I have. So that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Did think I would drop some history on you because I do think it's interesting. You know, I'm not proud of it, but I do find it interesting. I was like, whoa, when I first found this out, I'm like, man, this goes way back. And it took on a little bit of additional significance to think that at one point, you know, they were just starting to settle there where I lived. And that was, it was really interesting, and I felt fortunate to have been able to live that experience. So I don't think that's pride, but I am happy that I got to see that and I got to experience all that. That said, much love.